Buenos días, bonjour, ohayo gozaimasu. Es lunes. Nous sommes lundi, getsuyobi desu yo. It is Metacognition Monday, and we are talking about how your brain works so that you can learn faster in this class and in all your classes. All right, today, let me remind you about the forgetting curve. Notice I put some space between this week and the last time we talked about the forgetting curve. So remember, if you repeat right here, it's pointless because everything's in short-term memory and it's already there. And if you wait until you've completely forgotten it, you've got to relearn everything, so you're burning up all those calories again. We want to study right in this sweet spot, right about here, when you're just forgetting it. Okay? So, let's examine spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is as it sounds. You're putting spaces between your repetition, because we know that repetition is the key to success. And we also know that repetition is the key to success. So let me show you how to do that, like explicitly how to put spaces in your repetition. So here I gave you the example of la banana or el plátano or banana. I can write this over and over and over again. It's in short-term memory, okay? I can say this over and over again. If I do it 100 million times in one day, there'll be a little bit of a help, okay? Like that's how I learned how to spell the city that I was born in, Huntsville, Alabama, because I got in trouble. The teacher heard me talking to somebody else. I was in first grade. Somebody else asked me, what did the teacher say? I wasn't paying attention. And I told the other person what the teacher said, and I'm the one who got in trouble. And the teacher made me write Huntsville 10 times, and I knew how to spell Huntsville after that. And I was like, this is a pretty good punishment, because now I know how to spell Huntsville. But at any rate, if I did Huntsville for 100 times, it wouldn't have done anything. All right? Although, yes, I've talked about my classes in Japan, where I had to write one kanji over and over. And that's a little different, okay? We don't want the words in your short-term memory. So back on day 1 of class, I told you, no matter what we do in class, you walk out the door, you're going to forget 80% of what you learned unless you look at it one time in the next 24 hours. All right, so we got to put some spaces between our repetition. So in Japan, when I was writing one kanji over and over and over again for an hour, and the teacher walking up and down the aisles commenting on how beautiful or how ugly our kanji was, what happened was I would go home and just naturally I was reading a lot, or I was writing letters back home or whatever, and I was just naturally using those kanji again, and so I got that spaced repetition without even really trying, okay? So we're putting spaces between the things that we repeat. Those footnotes are from my book, and I just cut and pasted from my book. It's a teeny bit more complex than just putting spaces in between. All right, so now I'm gonna tell you the real science of it. So most importantly, you have to start making judgment calls. Which words are going to be easy for you, and which words do you need to study again? Which words do you need to study many times, and which words do you need to study just a couple times and then you got it? Okay, the word garage, la garage in French, you already know that word. Ignore it. You don't have to study it. The word la maison, you probably need to study that for a couple times until you know it, okay? Anything else I want to say here? Yes, so let me show you how to put this is explicitly what we need to do, okay? You need to make a judgment call as to which words you need to study and which words you can safely ignore. Okay, so you've decided, these are the ones I need to study. Just look at them once a day. You don't have to do anything special. You can if you want. We're going to talk about Freyer diagrams in a couple of weeks. But you've already been doing Freyer diagrams in class, but I'm going to explain what they are. There's a lot of things you can do. You can make flashcards, but you can write sentences, tons and tons of stuff. But minimal, you're just looking at them once a day, okay? And then you need to decide whether you're going to look at the other words once a day, once a week, once a month, never because you already know it. And like the word la garage, you're not going to forget, okay? And then the deal is you don't have to spend too long on this. With spaced repetition, It is not a 3-hour long study session. 5 minutes is completely fine. Okay, it's first documented in 1885 by Ebbinghaus, the same guy who did the forgetting curve. Okay, he discovered through lots and lots of research, 1 day of cramming is the same as 3 days of relaxed study. So stop for a moment before you look at all my footnotes and everything. You're cramming for a test. How do you feel when you're cramming for a test? You feel miserable, don't you? You feel stressed. You feel nervous. You feel tense. Okay? But if you're studying 5 minutes a day over 3 days, you're relaxed, you're chill, you're happy. Wouldn't you rather be happy? I mean, just if nothing else, wouldn't you rather be happy? All right, so we're going to make a gold list. Okay, now I do my gold lists a little differently than the guy who invented the gold list does. But basically, I want you to go through all the words of whatever unit we're on. Check Microsoft Teams, because I'll have a list of words that we're working on right now, and not just words, because that's just silly. I like them in context, so they're going to be sentences, they're going to be situations. Okay, and make a list of, I already know it, I can ignore it. I need to look at it 2 or 3 more times, and then I'll know it, and I need to keep looking at it because this word still looks pretty darn foreign to me. Okay, and then for the next week, just look at, I'm going to have a list of maybe 30 phrases there, 30 sentences, 30 situations. Try to whittle it down to your top 6, 7, or 8. Okay, so it shouldn't be overwhelming. Just a small handful of stuff. And for the next week, I want you looking at those words 1 time a day, maybe 2 times a day if you want. Okay? Stuff you already know, don't even bother looking at again. You're gonna hear it in class, so it's fine. Okay? And the stuff you think you kind of know, let's go ahead and ignore that this time, because we're gonna see those in class too. It's just the ones you're really struggling on. Okay? So just for the next week, I want you to run a little experiment to see how well this study aid helps you. Okay? So remember, I'm not asking for any more than 5 minutes a night. Okay? All right. See you over in Microsoft Teams.